We'll make that.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. Anybody that would care to, this is completely voluntary, rise and join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever.
join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. September 24th, regular city council meeting, 6:30. 2024, call this to order. Roll call, please.
Brown.
Here.
Henson.
Here.
Martin. Here. Meyer.
Here.
Mosley.
Here.
O'Rourke. Here. Herminer.
Here.
Riddell.
Here. All right, we have a quorum, and before I invite Shane Knight up, I wanted to ask for your blessing, council. I sent you her resume. Share more. Ask her. I'd like to appoint. I've got to put it on the agenda. Appoint her to Parks Committee.
I make a motion we add man to the agenda.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Jay. Share Moore, first time I met her was at a Parks Committee budget workshop before she was even on Parks Committee. And so she showed then a lot of interest. Cody stepped down. So this is Ward 3, Position 1, and with your permission, I'd like to appoint her.
I make a motion we accept, Mr. Chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, now I invite Shane Knight, Greater Bryant Chamber of Commerce, CEO and President, to come and got some presentation.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for the opportunity. So next week will be my 6th month on this horse. It has been a ride, no doubt about it. We have done a lot over the 6 months, and we've got a lot of things in place, some of which I will review with you. That way you kind of know the direction we're going and the things we've been working on. One of the first tasks that I took on was to kind of revamp our website, retool it into more of one that deals with the business side, the economic side, the commerce side of our city. To push our businesses, to push the growth of the chamber, which, couples everything together. So as we go through here, we'll just hit the tabs real quick. You see there under chamber, the different aspects that you have. This concerns more of the workings of the chamber and things of that nature, the applications, the membership, our sponsors, our community leaders, and promoting their businesses and links to their pages. Next over on the events. It highlights all of the main events that the Chamber will partner with the city and others. You will see one of the things that we're going to bring back under, go to annual events and see if I've got it there. As you scroll down, you'll see each one of our events is highlighted. One of the things that we are going to bring back, you see there just above our Chamber banquet, is Taste of Bryant, where we're going to partner with our restaurants, our food trucks, and all over too. We've got some from Little Rock that have expressed some interest in being a part of it. But with COVID being well behind us now, I think it's a great opportunity to highlight the culinary features that we have within our community. As I go and I meet the different businesses and meet the owners and sit and have coffee or whatever, go out. We do have a sizable number of what I would say foreign owned, run style businesses, from not just the typical Mexican restaurants and things like that, but I'm talking about Indian food, Pakistani food, different things like that. They're there, and I think it's time that we highlight that. So you got those things under the events. You have the directory, normal thing for a chamber to have, but go to the development tab. This is where I wanted to emphasize our community and the opportunities within our community. You can go to the commercial properties for lease, for sale, commercial properties for sale, commercial land for sale, and go ahead and click on either one of those. And it will take you to LoopNet, which outlines all of the commercial property that is registered for sale inside the city limits of Bryan and some surrounding areas. And it gives you all the details of what is for sale within our community. I use this when I'm talking with developers, when I'm talking with outside real estate agents that are looking for businesses to relocate, or in this case, when you've got folks looking to grow their portfolio. I'll point them to this direction and show them what we have for sale inside our city and around, okay? All right, go back to the main page. Back under development, click on the economic development. So I'm going to show you here in just a few moments what I use as a tool back from my days in Southeast Arkansas. It's called an economic development prospectus. It's a highlight of the territory, in this case, just the city limits of Bryant and the various facets that we offer. From public safety to parks to our schools to already existing businesses to the demographics. We look at the demographics from a financial standpoint, we look at it from an educational standpoint, and we also look at our ages. Thing about Bryan is we're a very young community. We're about 2 years average younger than any of the communities, Class A cities in the state of Arkansas. We also have a higher median income. Bryant ranks 4th in the state of Arkansas for the number of incomes $100,000 and over. So when you take that whole demographic picture, you look at an average age in Bryan of 37, you look at above average household income on the median level, you look at the number of $100,000 salaries, then you couple it with this. This kind of brings it all together. 22% of the residents within the city limits of Bryant work in the healthcare industry. You have a young, professional population that has disposable income. Okay? They like their restaurants, they like their shops, they spend money. What we have to do is we have to get with the developers that have the platforms in development that caters to that. And ultimately what we're looking at in our economic development is that, and we'll talk about it here in just a few moments, is what I have labeled that apex project that brings income into the city, that doesn't necessarily have a long tenured stress upon our public services or our infrastructure. In other words, they come here, they spend money, and they leave. That's what we're after, okay? And we're looking for that one project that can kind of be our cornerstone for future development that spurs that economic growth from that perspective. They come to town, they spend some money, they leave, everybody's happy. They got what they wanted, we got what we want, the sales tax revenue, things of that nature, okay? So we'll take a look at this economic prospectus in a little more detail here in just a moment. Let's go back to the website. Go to resources. Resources here list various things within our community, from job listings, scholarships, a little bit about the airport and the community, okay? So what we've done with our website is we wanted to build that one-stop shop that when I'm in contact with a developer, they get 2 websites. They get the City of Bryant website and they get the Chamber website. That way they get a pretty good overview of what Bryant is from a government standpoint and from a commerce standpoint. And in our unveiling of our new logo, you see there commerce and community. It is absolutely essential, almost to the point, folks, it's non-negotiable, that government and commerce work in unison. Having you guys and the chamber on the same page, communicating, working together, and I'll give some examples here in just a moment, what it does is it gives a developer peace. To know that all they got to do is make a phone call, they get their questions answered, they get the resources they need to make a sound economic decision. And here's the example. We're working on some projects right now. I've been in touch with 3 developers. One is coming into town October 1st to sit down with the mayor and his staff. And the staff, by the way, guys, I'm telling you right now, kudos. Everything that I have needed, everything that I have asked for, they provided, without question. Tell me what you need, let's sit down, we'll work it out. So we've got a developer coming in town on October 1st that wants to take a look at some sewer aspects on some property. No problem. Mayor put the staff together. We're going to sit down at 1 o'clock on October 1st, take a look at some sewer infrastructure and how the city can accommodate the developer's needs on these hopeful future projects. So kudos to your staff. They have been top notch. So that's what we've done with the website. We're marrying commerce and community. We've built this website, as I stated, to be a tool, a resource to developers when they're looking at our community and whether or not they want to locate their business here and things like that. Any questions on the website? Great. No? All right, let's go to this prospectus. So when I'm talking with a developer, first thing they're going to get outside of a phone conversation is usually where it starts, and they get an email from me as a follow-up. I send them this prospectus that outlines the economic opportunities within our community. They get the website for the city, the website for the chamber. In this prospectus, what I'm doing is I am giving that developer an overview of our city, historically, currently, and a look at the future. Infrastructure, economics, current employers, current statistics. That way they get a feel of whether or not they want to come here and do an on-site visit. Okay? What will usually spur out of this conversation is, Shane, who can I talk to? Who's got the land? Who is the main developer? Okay? Some of these guys that I talk with a group out of Austin, Texas. They do their own. They just need the land. I talked to another group out of Atlanta. They're more of the finance guys. They look for the developer. They buy the land, look for the developer, and say, hey, we need you to build this. So they get this historical overview, and I know that's hard to say, I apologize, of the city, just about who we are, where we come from, what we used to be, things like that. And then they're going to get the demographic data. This one breaks down male, female, median age, household income, your median home value, and the cost of living index. In Arkansas, the average cost of living index is right at 100. In Bryant, we're at 84. That means we're below, 16% below the average living index. Means it's pretty livable here. Utilities, groceries, things of that nature, 16 points below average. Go to Northwest Arkansas, you're hitting the hundreds. Okay? Infrastructure and transportation. We emphasize our highway construction, we emphasize the interstate, we emphasize the ease of our exits on and off Interstate 30, Highway 183. We talk about the expansion of Highway 5, which is a big deal. Okay, that is going to be a major boost to us when from 183 to the county line is widened. That's going to be a huge boost for us. We talk about our commerce, our current employers, our high employers, the businesses, some of which, and they're not all listed, some are on here of who we have. Now, in my conversation with developers, these are key. They want to know what businesses you currently have and how successful they are. If they're struggling, they're not coming. If they're growing, if they're constantly full, if it is newer, culturally relevant businesses, it entices them to look. Does that make sense on the newer, culturally relevant? All right. If you still have the old, Old South restaurant and that's all you got, well, yeah, but they're good, they're full, but that's all you got. No wonder they're full. They're going to have a moment of pause. Okay. Then we talk about our economic characteristics and assets that we have here in the community. We break down our education, our lifestyle, safety, and health. One of the things that developers look at is if they're going to locate management teams here to run a restaurant, to run a hotel, whatever it may be, you have to keep the spouse happy. I lost a lot of businesses in Southeast. Job base is good, the wage is good, lots of land available, but when she says, I got nowhere to shop, I got nowhere to go, and he says, I got nowhere to fish, I got nothing to do, kills it. So what they're looking for here is that lifestyle, okay? Will my family have a healthy lifestyle? If I move my management team to Bryant, Arkansas, will Bryant meet their needs, okay? You get the management team excited about moving, the company gets excited about moving. You get the management team excited about living here, then the company wants to build here, all right? So that's what we talk about on this page here. Am I at the end? I think I am at the end. That's it. So this is about 5 or 6 pages that they get, gives them that overview. I follow up with another discussion. When can I get you here in town to take a look at some land? Now, that is where we're at right now. As I talked with the mayor, my conversations with 3 developers. One is an Arkansas-based developer. They have told me we are on an 18-month pause right now on doing anything in Arkansas. The guy out of Austin said, Shane, we're probably a 12 to 18-month pause. We're buying land, but we're sitting on it. The guy out of Atlanta said, yeah, we're about 12 months, maybe 18, before we do anything. They're waiting on the election, okay? Here's what you got to keep in mind when it comes, and you real estate guys will get this. Construction loans, you're paying that interest on that loan the moment you sign. All right, you can buy land, you can say we're building in 6 months, you're paying interest on that loan for 6 months, and you're paying interest for the duration of that construction project. They are waiting to see what happens with our interest rates. Right now, they're going down. But there is a side of the aisle that is cautious and saying, that depends. Because if certain policies happen, we're afraid those interest rates are going to go back up. And we're not going to get stuck with $500,000 or $5 million worth of land that we're making interest payments on that we can't afford to build. So that's kind of the pause and waiting, all right? That's one aspect. The other aspect is this. We have identified an Apex project. We have been in talks with those relevant teams on that Apex project. Everything is in line. Everything looks great. We're waiting on a couple of key aspects to happen, and that's just a phone call away. I'm waiting on a phone call. We are confident that if this does indeed come to fruition, and I'm optimistic, but I'm not irresponsibly optimistic, okay? Does that make sense? If it does happen, we are extremely confident by the ancillary conversations that we've had with other developers. They're waiting to see. If it does, then that 12 to 18 month time frame that I talked with these 3 developers lines up. You could see some significant movement in 12 to 18 months. Okay? Significant enough that the wait period of that time will be well worth it. But there is the giant if. And I promise you, that if is completely out of our control. We're waiting on one phone call. Okay? It's kind of like, back in the days when you were dating and you finally had that right date and you're just waiting on him or her to call. That's what I'm waiting on. All right? But that's kind of where we're at. I will tell you this. Every contact that I make, the mayor is aware of it. He sees who I'm talking to. He sees the subject matter that we're talking about. He sees the things that I'm going after. And what I am going after is sales tax generating businesses. I want people to come eat, shop, and leave. No disrespect. I hope you fall in love with Bryant to the point that you say, we're moving here one day. But right now, I want you to come spend money. All right? Any questions for me? Concerns, gripes, comments, complaints, moans, groans? All right?
Great job.
Thanks, Sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, I got a little bit.
All right. Tricia Power, Director's Report, Animal Control.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
We go on here on. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. So I'm a little bit late on this since we rescheduled our council meeting last month. So, but I just wanted to start off and give you an update. The last time I was up here, I had some pretty tough news that I was sharing. But the good thing is that things are looking up. And the reason for that is because we've done a lot of small things that has added up to some big changes. So here's some statistics for us. So this is at the end of June, at the end of the second quarter. These numbers have changed since then, but this kind of gives you an idea of the way that we're trending. One of the things I want to point out on this list is the number of animals that we've transferred to shelter partners. At this point in time last year, we'd only done 54. And as of the end of June, we had transferred 138 animals from our shelter into our shelter partners, both locally and out of state. That number is now close to 200, and the year's not over yet. So we've definitely done a lot of improvements as we've moved along. Here's some information about our year-to-date outcomes, just a graphic showing kind of where we are. As far as all of our life-saving outcomes, everything is trending in the right direction. Our save rates are looking pretty good. This time, well, I want to say it was a little bit earlier in the year. At one point, our save rate had dropped to below 50%. It was pretty dismal, but now everything's looking up. As of the end of August, our overall save rate is now at 85%. So it's definitely, everything's trending in the right direction. Everything's looking really good. So these are our Best Friends save rates. If you were to go to the Best Friends Animal Society partner website, you would see these numbers, and this is where we're at. So we're not quite at that 90% across the board. And the reason why I say Best Friends save rates is they back some numbers out. They don't count every single animal that comes in. It kind of depends on the reason why they came in, whether or not they're counted. But this gives you an idea of kind of where we're at as far as their metrics fall. So everything's looking really, really good. One of the things that we had happen, and if you read this month's mayor's memorandum in my section, we talked about our fee-free Fridays. What I did in the month of August is we waived adoption fees on Fridays. Fridays is typically one of our slowest days for adoption. It doesn't seem like it would be, but it is. It's just a really slow day for adoptions. Always has been. So we're like, okay, we're just going to do free adoptions on Fridays. And so our adoptions on Fridays went up 225% over the previous month. And from this time last year went up 333%. So with an overall increase of 63.6%. So it was incredible what happened. I mean, the first free Friday, the animals were just flying out the door. Another thing we did, the other thing
They weren't birds, were they?
you occasionally do have birds that fly out the door. Sometimes they fly back in the door. We had a pigeon that didn't want to go away. It was like, you have to go, you can't stay. But yes, they were leaving so quickly. It was amazing. The other thing that we did is we got a grant from Best Friends Animal Society, and $5,000 of that grant, they allowed me to use it for whatever I saw fit. So I kind of held on to that money, and I waited and waited and waited, and then I said, you know what? I'm going to hire my Celine to come in and do a live from the shelter. So the first Saturday in September, and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself because I'm trying to do the second quarter report, but I'm going to get ahead of myself here. So the first Saturday in September we were open, I had Shelly come in and do a live. So she talked me all about it and everything, and she said, this is what we do. We're live for about 15 minutes. But we were live for 30 minutes. She and I just kept talking and everything. For the first time in years, at 12:30 when the shelter opened, we had a line of people waiting outside the door. And every Saturday since then, we've had a line of people waiting outside the door. Also today, we had a line of people waiting outside the door. It's Tuesday. Best $300 I ever spent. Thinking about doing it twice a year next time. So, but yes, it was amazing what that small little amount of that grant money did to just give us a shot in the arm to get those adoptions, those reclaims, everything else going. So, good jump start. So this is our save rates by year. As you can see by the trend line, we're trending back. 2020 was a great year. Everybody was home. There were no animals in the shelters. But we started to dip down, and then we're coming back up. So everything is trending in the right direction. Everything's looking good. I talked to you guys a few months ago about length of stay. And when the length of stay, that's how many days in the shelter the animals, remain there. So the average length of stay for cats is down to 9.74 days. The reason why this is important is because the longer the animal stays in the shelter, the less likely it is for them to have a life-saving outcome. So it's important for us to get those LOS numbers down. So the cats, the average is 9.74, the dogs is 8.97. This is great, absolutely great. We're trending in the right direction. And we've got length of stay by outcome. So our outcomes for adoptions has gone down from over 20 days, average length of stay, to 18 days. And then return to owner, we're almost down to just 1 day. Almost. I really love it. We can just get them in and out the same day. Doesn't always happen, but look at that. Last year it was almost 3 days. Now it's a day and a little over a day and a half. And then for transfers, it was over 10 days before they would transfer out. Now we're down to a little under 9 days. So everything's trending in the right direction. These are all good numbers. That arrow going down on length of stay is good. So everything else is like, I want the numbers to go up, but now I want the numbers to go down. So, and then our enforcement and rescue statistics, total activity for the first 6 months of the year, we did almost 4,000 activities. But that's everything from events to calls for service to follow-ups, all of that stuff. So we've been pretty busy. So some of our notable achievements for the second quarter is we started doing painting with the dogs for enrichment. If you'd like to buy a painting done by one of our shelter dogs, we can do that. It helps us get a little bit of money in. Also, all of our full-time and one of our part-time people is now certified fear-free. This is huge because this helps with the adoptability of the dogs. It helps for the dogs and the cats when they come into the shelter. It's a stressful environment. They don't know who we are. They don't know why they're here. There's all these strange animals everywhere. So it's stressful. So for us to be fear-free certified is huge for them because then we know how to minimize our negative impact on them and still get the job done. And then we also joined the Central Arkansas Rescue Transport. This is a coalition made up of many shelters and rescues all over the state of Arkansas, and we all work together to transfer animals outside of the state because we know that there's not enough homes here in Arkansas for all the animals that are here. So this is a life-saving measure. Not only that, they help fund the transports. They don't pay 100%. We still have to pay our fair share, but they do give us checks to help offset those costs. So like we just did a transport to Iowa last week. We got 3 checks, and the reason why it was 3 is because it's 3 different grants that the coalition applied for and got that were worth about $600. That was over half of the cost of the transport. Huge, big game changer for us. So these are some pictures of some of the lives that we saved over the first quarter. My favorite, of course, is the little possum there. So cute. But it's been a great year. I mean, everything's just been wonderful. Some things we've got on the horizon. You heard me talk about the Community CAP program. I'm going to be bringing, hopefully next month, we'll get that ordinance revisions to you for your review and hopeful that you'll approve those. Pet care assistance. We're looking at ways to try to keep animals in their homes. We've already started collecting information from the community about that and already started distributing free food. Our officers will actually be going and delivering free donated food to people here in the community to help them out. Repurposing spaces in the shelter. We've already done a small remodel project in the shelter. Spent a couple $100 to move some things around to try to make things a little easier. We've already expanded our hours in September. I work late every Wednesday night, so if you'd like to come and hang out with me, I'm there until 7 o'clock on Wednesday nights, and maybe take an animal home. I'll take 2. Make a deal. We're expanding volunteer opportunities. I have volunteers that come in and help me run the shelter on Wednesday nights. We have volunteers that come in on Saturdays. And so then, of course, our enrichment activities. Just talked about the painting. We've got a lot of other things that are going on, and also fostering. About half the animals that we currently have in the care of the shelter are not actually at the shelter right now. They are in homes in the community, which is huge. It helps save the citizens money as well as lessens the stress that the animals are experiencing. So it's a huge I mean, just all of these things are just amazing that we're doing. So thank you again for your support. Everything is looking up at the shelter. I will say, we still need a new building. Even though we've got all this going on.
We don't want City Hall.
Do what?
We don't want City Hall.
I apologize. I mean, kudos, thinking outside the box. But no, I know. But thank you again for your support, everyone, and I'm hoping that over the next few months, the items that we'll be bringing to you, please, if you have any questions at all, please reach out to me. I'm happy to sit down with anyone and talk about all the positive changes that we're trying to try to make things better for the animals here in Bryant, as well as for the people as well. So thank you.
Your clients might improve City Hall. I mean, the morale.
You might as well
If the City Hall wants to adopt you, I would be happy.
There we go, we got City Hall. There you go, City Hall.
Thank you, Tricia. All right, good stuff.
You missed me.
All right, we're going to move on to public comments, a couple things. If you're here to talk about the Midland Estates, the subdivision annexation, we'll open public comments back up when we get to that on the agenda. So just wanted you to hold on for that. But if you're not here for that, just here for public comments, you're welcome. We're glad you're here. Just a couple things to note. Be mindful of the 3-minute limit. Give us your name and your address. A couple things that I'd like to ask you. If there's specific questions you have, make sure we know what those are so we can try to respond to those. Probably not tonight, but we want to make sure if there's questions people have, they get responses. And if there's any specific action you want council to make, please try to make that clear for us. We'll make sure we get the notes down, and we just want to make sure we respond to you well. So with that, I'll open public comments.
Mr. Mayor, Board, my name is Dale McClellan, I live in Miller Place, and if you don't mind, I'd like to pass out some pictures with you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you say Miller Place?
Yes.
All right.
I have a neighbor sitting over there beside me, Mr. Henderson, but he's 89 years young, so he don't want to stand up.
There's no way he's 89.
I'm here, and Mr. Henderson, I turned in a petition last week to the office, and so with the neighborhood. But as you see, I'm here saying about a road. I've talked to Troy about a year ago on the same subject. He came out, he circled the bad spots, said when we got money, he'd be back. I haven't seen Troy. So, you know, I've talked to a bunch of people and I understand they say we ain't got no money, but as you see in the pictures, our streets are getting pretty bad. I've been there for 23, 24 years, and I don't believe any road work inside the neighborhood at all. So, that's what I'm here for. And also, I don't know if you can tell on that picture, but Mr. Henderson's, we got a water problem, especially in the wintertime, on both sides of the road. The kids, when they walk home from school, they have to walk through, they're walking right down the middle of the highway because of the rock water. Mr. Henderson, when he's got neighbors over, they have to park in that water on the side. And so, and if you look at that, it's really down Miller Place. When you go, the bad road's right down Miller Place. The off cul-de-sacs and stuff, the roads are fine. It's just straight down the strip. And it's probably more as the stop sign where it meets Cricket Road. 400 feet. That's where all the bad spots are. So,
Is it
we're not talking about the whole neighborhood, we're just, that one strip down the road.
Is it more on the south, here you go,
So-
more on the south side, like you're saying, south incline?
Towards the north.
No,
That's
yeah,
where the
towards
That's what I
the,
make sure I understood.
yeah.
So it's
So,
going
but
back that way.
if you turn in another place and you go back in the neighborhood,
Right.
the streets back in there is pretty good shape.
I'm familiar with
It's
it.
just that one strip.
I'm familiar with you, okay.
Doesn't look like there's any access to the sewer system on the pictures he shows, doesn't show up.
Storm drain.
Yeah, storm drain.
I'm gonna say, I haven't seen it in probably a couple of years, but they used to come through there with a sweeper, sweep the street. And it seemed like, it helped anyway, as far as the water standing, Now, it didn't fix the problem, but it did help.
We will work on, getting a plan together, working on the costs so we know what we're dealing with and get you some answers.
And I remember talking to Troy, he didn't really like the idea of asphalt, because it's all concrete. So, but, we started getting asphalt driveways, so.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sir, would you sign in, please?
Yes,
Oh, sorry.
thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Anyone else here with public comments, not with Midland State subdivision annexation? All right. We'll move then to old business. This is our second reading of ordinance 2024-10.
You guys remember back in July when we went for the second reading on this and it was tabled and something happened in August? I'm not quite sure. I think it was a ball game. Was there a ball game in August?
Softball.
I appreciate that because it gave me kind of an opportunity because several questions got brought up that I wasn't around trying to get up to speed on. And I felt it was a need to kind of answer some of those. So we had some initial questions about public safety. And one of the things was about fire access to the backside. If something happened on the front side of the subdivision, that they could be able to get to the backside of it. And I visited with the fire marshal and the chief, and we confirmed that they can get their fire truck, AKA apparatus, in from that with improvements that the developers agreed to do. But also, I think there was some concern about public access as a result of the existing neighborhood was worried that that's going to become a thoroughfare. But I believe the developer plans on installing a gate, the Knox box on it, to make it only accessible for fire access, so it's kind of the best of both worlds. There were concerns about traffic on Midland, and yes, the traffic is greatly increasing on Midland, and that's why it's on our master transportation plan as a minor arterial. And all developers that are along that are building it out to that spec. Obviously, that's out in the county. We've got to get out there at some point to affect the rest of those improvements. But it is on the plan. RDOT's aware of it, and their Highway 5 widening project, they're putting a signal light at Midland and Highway 5. And then there was also a question as to regards if it was legal. So I had conversations with the county judge and the county attorney, and they assured me that those documents are legal. They're certified by a surveyor, and it's a petition for annexation. So at this time, if you guys got any questions or if you want to open it up to public comment, I think we should address those.
Any questions for Ted? Okay, I'd like to go ahead and open it up for public comments. Again, please come forward, state your name, sign in. Be very appreciated.
Hi, I'm Trish Wood, live at 389 LMA Wood Road. Sign this in. I would like to just clarify or ask that, I think in July, I thought we had tabled this and we were at the first reading, since we didn't have a meeting last time, because of the last one got canceled. So I'm not sure if are we on the first reading or the second reading? Okay. I would like to understand how that worked, but I don't want to spend my 3 minutes talking about it. Good evening. I really just want to share some personal concerns that I have. My husband and I met with Judge Brumley since the last time I was up here, which was in July, about Midland Estates annexation. And after, and in that meeting, Brumley, he did admit that proper procedures were not followed by the Bryant Planning Commission. And for me personally, that's very unsettling. At the time Midland Estates was approved by Bryant, the next step would have been to notify Saline County Planning Committee, and he admitted that that did not happen. And since that, let's see, I'm sorry, I have to look at my notes because I got a little nervous. But at the time Midland Estates was approved by Bryant, the next step would have been to notify Saline County Planning Committee, since the property lays in the Bryant ETJ. He said someone made a mistake. People make mistakes. He said that's what he told us. But he feels like there are no real consequences for these oversights. And in my job personally, if I made a mistake like that, I would probably be fired. You know, there are consequences for not, following the procedures that are put out in place. And that's frustrating to me that was just brushed aside. What troubled me even more was when Judge Brumley asked me what I wanted him to do. And he said that it would have passed anyway, and that his role was simply to just check boxes to make sure that it's notarized. Check. There's a signature. Check. There's an exhibit. Check. There's no ethical, moral decisions or anything like that being made by him. I mean, he's just reviewing it. So I don't understand, why we even have that in there. The lack of accountability, I would have expected the judge to be more accountable in that role. It's just my opinion, that I feel like someone in that role would be checking those things to make sure that not just the box is checked, but does this make sense? All this accountability, the lack of accountability worries me, especially since it was denied. What happened, and the outcome of that, is that it denied me and my neighbors and all of the other landowners the opportunity to voice their opinion before this plan was even approved. We were never notified, but we live in Saline, and had it gone to the Saline Planning Board, we would have gotten a notice that we could have gone on and before this had gotten a pre-approved plat. Because of that omission, no notice was given to any property owners. And as a neighboring landowner, I can't help but feel robbed of my right to participate in a decision that affects my home and my family. Plus, the original plan still has some unresolved issues that are regarding entrance and exit points, leaving us all in limbo about how this development will actually function. And to me, there's too many unanswered questions and exceptions that they raise serious concerns about the integrity of this project. And I urge you to please just reconsider, because I feel like you guys are in the position where you could make someone have a consequence for things that didn't go through the right way. I appreciate you listening to my perspective, and if you have any questions, be happy to answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Put my name in. My name is Nathan Lords. I live on Midland Road, 2251. I also have extreme concerns about the development. We moved into our house on Midland about 3 years ago now, and absolutely love the community, love everything about it, love the fact that we have more space than we've ever had and things like that. And as this community has gotten further and further along and I've learned more details about it, from my understanding, it's going to be developed as a Roush Coleman community. And I have, in my 6 years of living in Arkansas, I've worked a lot in these Roush Coleman communities, and I have 3 young kids, a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old, and my first concern is obviously their safety, as oftentimes in these communities, as I've worked in them and seen them over the years, they start out as, maybe a first-time home buyer, and then quickly they turn into rental units, and that's obviously extremely concerning to me as my property backs right up to this new community, as we know that you see any statistics on rental units and rental communities, the crime obviously comes with it. And so with us backing right up to that, being able to have the freedom and the feeling of letting my kids being able to play in their own backyard and run around and play in our field is obviously an extreme concern. And so that's probably my greatest concern with all of this, is the safety of my kids and them being able to just be kids in their own backyard and not have to worry about being babysat and watched over constantly. And then my second is, and I've taken multiple pictures as I've taken my son to school in the morning. Every single morning, just trying to get off of Midland takes you 15, 20 minutes. And to have a 6-year-old that's just starting kindergarten, having to leave and wake up 20 minutes earlier just sitting in the car is obviously, as traffic is right now, my concern is what will it become when there becomes, X amount of these new homes and people trying to get out of there. And so, yes, I would absolutely ask for you to reconsider, this project and things that are being overlooked or overseen for, other purposes. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Terry Hester. I spoke to y'all before about our subdivision, which is Wildwood subdivision, and our road condition. Since I'm on time clock, I've got notes. So I just want to remind y'all the neighborhood effect of Midland connecting to our neighborhood. The kids that play there, especially on Willow Street, they would not be able to do that anymore. They couldn't hang out on their bikes or any of that. Just a few examples I want to do real quick. Today, for example, there was a bus coming into the neighborhood. There were 6 of us trying to get out. There was a truck with a trailer who literally had to go pull in someone's driveway for the bus to get by. I've met power trucks where I've had to back down the road for them to get by, UPS trucks, FedEx trucks, power trucks too, and just normal trucks that we've had to back down the road to get by because we can't pass. There's deep ditches, there's pine needles and all that stuff. So that is our big concern for our neighborhood, besides allowing that section to come through to our neighborhood, which is against our property owners' bylaws, if you want to call them that. Something else. I'm not against improvement because I know Bryant needs to grow. What the guy said earlier, I'm all for that. But you can't forget about the people that are already here. Why we live in Bryant, why we like Bryant. I've been here since I was in the 5th grade. I remember what Bryant was. We would like to, keep that the way it was, but it's not going to happen. We need to grow. We need to make more money. But you can't forget about the people that are already here and the impact that it's going to be on their life. So what I'm asking for y'all to do is to consider not allowing, I know there's conversations that have happened about the gate coming into that, but we need full assurance that that gate will be shut and cars will not be allowed, because if that gate's allowed to be open for post office or buses or anything else, people are just gonna go in and out, they don't care. And that's gonna impact our roads and our safety in our neighborhood. And already Midland, I heard him, what he was talking about, I understand that. I had to go down there the other day and it just took forever to get out. So I need y'all to think about the impact on this little neighborhood. And Bryant needs to grow, but on this project, either needs to be fewer houses so they don't have to have another entrance through our neighborhood, which, you know, by our bylaws, that's not allowed. And that's what I'm asking y'all to consider. It'll be like the equivalent of, 10 more seconds. In Midtown, if the Bullocks decided to open their driveway so people from Hilltop could go down his driveway through Midtown, that would be a disaster because those roads are so little. That's kind of like the same situation we're in. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
I'm Richard Jacuzzi, up on Midland as well. I changed a few of the things I was going to talk about to try and address some of the ones that just came up tonight. So, the secondary entrance was a huge issue. If any of you watched that meeting that I sent you, 200 homes with one entrance, whether it's gated or not gated, is not a good idea for a development. You can look at RDOT, we've got close to 2,000 comings and goings per day on Midland trying to get out, and you bear with them, struggling with a little bit of a cold. We had some preliminary studies, traffic studies on that new development, and it's adding close to 2,000 cars coming and going per day just on its own. So close that secondary entrance, this 20-minute wait that he's talking about trying to get on Highway 5 becomes 40 minutes, 30 or 40 minutes. It's just unfathomable, and I would think in a bare minimum that would need to be sent back for a new look at from the Planning Commission. If you're going to change it that drastically, that now we're not going to have a secondary entrance. So, but really this debate is about more than this one single Roush Coleman project. It's about a pattern and a lack of vision and planning and direction coming out of the Planning Commission. Your legacies and the Planning Commission's are not going to be about, establishing a parkway or Bishop Center. If somebody doesn't dramatically change the trajectory of the city, in 10 years, we're all going to be asking, how did we let our quaint city become another Southwest Little Rock? I get that we want to, I don't get that we want to grow it, exponentially. I know Roush Coleman is a small player in this, and we've got companies that want to, envision another 15,000 homes in our county, and I just don't think that's the direction we want to go. But I see a planning commission too that's being led by really the largest real estate broker in our county, and I consider him a friend, and it's nothing personal, but to me, I can't see how anybody can look at that as not being a conflict of interest. These votes that are taking place. If you watch the video of the meeting I sent you, it just screams of nepotism and just the good old boy system at its finest. When we have a planning commissioner that's encouraging an engineer to bring back your plan as a PUD because there'd be more money in it for your developer, that shouldn't be the standard of how we decide whether or not a development is good for our community. And also, even the little things, even if they, maybe they are innocent, but, you've got an engineer who's, in my mind, in that video, pressuring this committee to go in and pass a program and jokingly saying that his wife's a realtor on the deal and it's going to fall apart that week if it's not approved. I've got a lot of, but I'll follow up with you guys with an email. But if I can just address one thing on that. So when you voted for
to table that, there was a big discussion up here that was gonna start the process all over again, which in everybody's mind out here, that you can go ahead and check the script on it, but that's what was said, was it had to start it all over. So that's why in everybody's mind, we were here for our first reading.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So how did we get to this point? Why am I here tonight? I'm here because actually all the applications have been submitted correctly. The check boxes have been made. All the plans have been scrutinized as much as any development I've ever seen. So the city planning department, the city engineers, third-party engineers have reviewed this. The county judge has reviewed it. The county engineer has reviewed it. The county lawyer has reviewed it. This has been scrutinized to the end, from the beginning. And after all of that, all permits are in place, from county road permits for boring, for county road cuts, for county stormwater, for the city civil plan approval, for the state health department. Everything is in place. If you've driven by there, this project is almost complete. So the sewer's already been extended. So the only thing really that's left is this, will this be city or will this be county? And we're at the finish line. I'm here because everything is done accordingly. I wouldn't be standing here in front of you guys if I left something on. And as far as Rouse Bowman is concerned, so I brought pamphlets, there's a lot, but pamphlets that kind of describe, last year, who are buying these homes. So if you look at the details of this, you've got a third, it's a lot. So a third of the people buying these are nurses, teachers, policemen, firemen, military. Okay, another 10% are retired. So you've got over 40% fall into that category. I mean, these are the teachers that are teaching our kids, the policemen that are patrolling the streets. These are not bad people. Okay, the average credit score was, I think, 712 last year, and average annual income was over $80,000. So, I mean, I thought that was surprising, right? So we do traffic studies in-house, so there's no way a 192 lot subdivision is going to add 2,000 cars a day to Midland. That's exponentially, that's not even close. So I would say that that's inaccurate information. I'd be happy to answer any questions from you guys tonight, but I can assure you we follow the procedures to the T.
I have a question. So in that video from the Planning Commission, one of the things the Planning Commissioners talked about was the lot. There's that back entrance that they're talking about with the gate, but then on the other corner, I don't know, can't remember the name of that road that comes in.
Willow?
Willow.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it Willow? No, it's not Willow.
And then Wildwood connects to Willow.
Yeah. Are y'all going to build in that corner, or are you opening that lot as a access?
So, actually, we tried to connect, because the master street plan goes through that location. Is it this here?
Yeah, I think so.
So all of those blue squares on that property parcels are 13 parcels that Mr. Jacuzzi has gone out and acquired first right of refusals to try to block that access. So it's not, that was the goal. We wanted to go, follow the master street plan, a quick connection to Wildwood, but he's gone out and somehow acquired 13 first right of refusals, or 13 parcels where first right of refusal has been signed over, giving him the power. If somebody comes and asks for an easement, they have to go through him to get that. So we did actually go knock on his door and try to go that way, because that would have been what's great for Brian. That's what would have been perfect. That's what Colton and Truett would have wanted. Quick connection to the parkway. but that was blocked by Mr. Jacuzzi.
So the subdivision's happening no matter what,
The
right?
subdivision's happening, it's 75% done. So it's just a matter of, will this be county or city?
What are the improvements, and how long will it take to make those improvements? Are they small ones, are they large ones, are they?
So all of the sewer.
I mean, you have to give all of them, but
Oh, absolutely. So all of the sewer has been run to the property through the Bryant Park area, through Centaur Circle. It's already been completely finished inside the subdivision. All the water's done. I mean, really all that's left, the stormwater infrastructure is all in place. I mean, really all that's left is gravel of the roads, curb, asphalt, and the detention ponds will have to be sodded. I'd say 75% complete.
Someone want to know if y'all can guarantee that gate will be closed. That gate,
Yes, absolutely. If that's the desire of the city and the residents, we're completely on board with that.
That's a knock-lock gate?
That's correct.
Those are always locked for public safety,
Right,
right?
I think the,
I'm asking the chief. I couldn't see that one. Who has keys to those locks? Who has keys to those locks? Okay, just clarifying that. Sorry, Jonathan.
I have any questions for Jonathan.
How many homes is it?
192.
so is there anything left on, as you pull into Centaur Circle and it goes and makes the loop around, is there anything left there?
As far as like empty lots,
Yeah, well, empty lots, the houses, whatever.
There's quite a few houses.
Still
They're
there.
building new houses in Centaur.
and there's quite a few that have been, I believe, torn down and new houses built, so, you know, I think the city has some sewer issues there on Willow, Wildwood, Centaur Circle, and so this gravity sewer for the city will actually give an opportunity to remedy those issues in some cases. So, you'll see maybe half a dozen to 10 brand new homes on Centaur now.
Like Jonathan said, you know, the question, is it going to be in the county or in the city? I think it's advantageous to us that it be in the city. This kind of development at this stage, I like to have more quality control. Our inspectors will be inspecting these houses also. As I've talked to some of you about, the residents and neighborhoods in the county, but not in the city, that are already receiving city services, that's something we need to continue to look at as we can be proactive with annexations like this. I think it's good for the city of Bryant.
Is Mr. Hope dismissed?
Mr. Mr. Young, Mr. Hayden's attorney is also here.
Okay.
So, thank you guys.
Yeah. Got more public comment.
So I have a stupid question, and this is really a code question. Do they have the same inspections in the county, you know, when it comes to inspecting the dwelling and stuff within the county?
No, they have a kind of a somewhat stripped down version. There's the water provider will do the plumbing inspection, but as far as the electrical or anything like that, unless it's part of the homeowner's requirement, the homeowner's.
I'm not an attorney, but I might caution engineers to not state county policy when they don't work for the policy. County, I should say, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my name's Randy Hester, and I live on Sherwood, which is right there at the corner of Wildwood. Lived there about, I'm gonna get it wrong, she's gonna remind me, 37 years. The roads have, every once in a while, when we would complain to the county judge enough, they would come out and fill the potholes. But they never widen it. And so we've had this struggle for years and years. Now, I wasn't going to speak,
But I just felt compelled to when I heard that every box had been checked, every agency had done it, but still, it does not change the facts of what is going on. The roads are way too small. I don't live in Bryant, and yet this is affecting me and a host of others. Now, just because the boxes are checked doesn't mean it's right. And so I'm not going to be up here long, but there's a bunch of wrangling going on here that affects people's lives who have lived there a long time. And just because the box checked does not mean that the roads are wide enough to accomplish it. And to annex a certain part, just so that a contractor or a developer can accomplish what he wants to accomplish without actually getting the input of the people being annexed, does not seem right to me. I know I've never been contacted, one asked me if I wanted to be part of Bryant or not. And I'm sure that the people on the street have not either. So, that's what I need to say in response to what has been correct. I urge you to reconsider the direction that you're heading in this, because not everything that's legal is right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I've got one question between the chiefs. Are we servicing these areas now
By servicing them,
with police, fire?
we get routinely calls to come
No.
out.
Please, no comments from the crowd. Tree?
Yeah.
I will say
He's
this,
speaking to
we
the,
get called routinely for areas right outside the city limits because when the sheriff's office is busy with us to back them or to hold the call until we get there. I'm not gonna say we've been on their street per se, but it's pretty routine that we come outside the city limits. We're deputized by the sheriff, so.
We've got a mutual agreement with the fire department, Collegeville Fire Department.
So where would the fire truck come from if they didn't have one close to that was city-owned?
We would send one regardless
Okay.
to help Collegeville out. They would come from Central Station or Special.
thanks, Jack. Yes, ma'am.
Microphone.
Yes.
Barbara Nix, 1603 Utopia.
Yes, ma'am.
You've been told that everything throughout the process was done proper and legal, and you should approve this annexation ordinance. I'm here to tell you that it was not. At best, that vote by the commission was completely arbitrary with no rational basis. At worst, it both violated the procedures the city and county have by unilaterally making property use changes while violating the due process rights of the surrounding property owners and failing to have a public hearing. In cases like Martin and Bennett, the Bryant Planning Commission can clearly be sued and decisions that are arbitrary can be reversed. The council is also within its right not to even bring this ordinance up for a first reading again and let it die on the vine. We've tried to negotiate with Mr. Havens in good faith, and he ignores those requests just like he hasn't once shown up at a DRC, Planning Commission, or City Council meeting. It's one thing to have a bad growth plan and strategy for the city if everyone has an opportunity to debate it and have input. That's not what we have. Even Mayor Sanders had referenced the fact that much effort and public input was given in the creation of the city growth map and the master road plan. You have a planning commission, though, that is ignoring the will of the people and those that created the plan to essentially do what they want and cater to developers. Truett made excellent points and concerns in that meeting about those issues. What the commission should have done if they felt strongly about the need to honor the street plan and needs of the community would have been to force the developer to buy the other adjoining parcel of land and build and dedicate a meaningful connector road between Hilldale and Midland. We have several people that could not come speak tonight but plan on coming to one of the next two meetings prior to the vote. And again, to be clear, we're asking for you to either make a motion to send this preliminary plat back to the Planning Commission and requiring it to go through a public hearing and comment phase as it should have originally, or to simply not make a motion for a reading, something the court has already said you can do. 192 homes is much more than 192 vehicles on the road. Most homes have 2, 3, even 4. So traffic congestion is going to be a real problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? All right, with that, I'll close.
Jack's got another question.
Well, hold on. If there's no more public comments, I'll close the public comments. And we'll move on from there. Okay, 7:40. All right, with a motion to suspend the rules and read.
Make a motion, put on first, well, I guess we should do first and second reading, just to be clear, since there was some controversy about that.
Sure.
Motion to put on first and second reading by title only.
Okay, I got a motion, do I have a second?
A second that.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, Jack, do you have a?
Just for a little more clarification, if we have a house fire over there, and I don't want to get back into the part where years and years and years ago that we had the Salem Fire Department come out and watch the house burn down because they didn't have a membership. We wouldn't do that, would we?
That's volunteer.
We have no memberships whatsoever as tax-based.
You just go right straight in there and fight the fire.
Doesn't matter, we'll go regardless of this.
One way or another. Okay.
Colton, did we have public hearings and meetings for this?
So we did have our planning commission meetings. There was not a public hearing specifically for the annexation, but that's because there's not a requirement for one. According to our code and the process for annexations, if the petitioner doesn't request that the planning commission prepare a recommendation when the annexation ordinance is passed, territory that's annexed by ordinance shall be placed in a zoning classification in accordance with the adopted comprehensive plan. And this does fall in that category for a zoning that's in the comprehensive plan.
I'm gonna ask you the same thing I asked. Is the development going to happen, no matter if we annex it or not?
That's correct, yes. It would be either county or city. No.
Colton, I'm sorry, I don't think anybody's recognized. Colton, if the city annexes this area, what's Midland Road master plan designed as? Is it a feeder, or is it arterial, what is it?
It's designed as an arterial.
Can you explain what that is?
Or a minor arterial.
Can you explain what that is, please?
So that's our largest road classification that we have for our master transportation plan. It's designed to have, fully built out, it would have 2 lanes of traffic both directions, as well as a turning lane or a median in some areas.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Ted, what's the time frame on the light at Midland and Highway 5?
So they're in the process of doing right-of-way acquisition. They've sent out notifications. It's scheduled for all the right-of-way to be in place by sometime mid-2025, with the intention that probably construction will begin in 2026. RDOT has at times had challenges with meeting the schedule.
Can you pull up the map of the annexation part area? Do you have that?
I don't know.
If you can pull up the
I know it is. I'm just.
Well, I was telling him we could click on it.
Colton's the
At
quiz.
the bottom of the city website, I think, here.
Colton, as you're clicking and stuff, this is all in Bryant's jurisdictional planning district, correct?
Yes.
And eventually most of this area will be annexed, correct?
Correct. That's the ultimate goal for the ETJ area.
All right.
So this would be the area, that's Midland Road right here, going north. Creekside subdivision is over here, and that area where the subdivision is being built currently is right here.
Can you turn on the planning area?
And so we're just talking about the boundaries of that build-out, correct?
Correct.
So it would be, if they're eventually. It's kind of a little easier to see of the property in the annex.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All right, we've got a motion and a second to suspend the rules, read first and second reading by title only. All in favor?
Read by title only?
Oh, I gotta read
We
it.
already did that, brother.
That's right, I gotta read it. All right, an ordinance to annex certain territory in the municipal boundaries of the city of Bryant, sorry. All right, all in favor?
I believe it's a roll call vote.
Is it a roll call? It is a roll call vote, because it's an ordinance.
Well, I
Well, it's just a
don't think
reading.
you don't vote on a roll
That's
call.
right, sorry, I keep forgetting that. We just read it, we don't vote. My apologies.
One more reading.
We need
So
to
the
get
third
you-
reading,
Yeah, I'm
sorry, the third reading
We got
will
lost.
be at the next council meeting. All right, before new business, why don't we take a
I second that
4-minute
idea.
break?
Right, Yeah, thank
All right, new business. That's where we are, right? Financial report, number 4.
You're ready, we
Joey
got questions.
Black.
I have a sense of deja vu, because I feel like I was just here.
All over again.
Doing August 31st in your
7
report.
days ago.
Are there any questions on the August 31st in your report?
No questions? We have a motion to approve? Motion, second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, resolution 2024-32, oh, I need to say that one passed, all right. That didn't pass. Resolution 2024-32, budget adjustments.
Okay, so there are a couple on here that are ins and outs, so they don't show up on the top page because they're just reclasses that zero out. But the biggest one of those that I did want to draw your attention to, I added late and I did send out a separate email to council talking about it. That $456,000, we used to have a separate account for our half-cent street money. We've since talked to the state, they're no longer tracking that separately. They can for us, but they don't, as a matter of course, send it to us in the regular information that they give us. So I'm closing that account and putting it in with the other account. That's all I'm doing there. So if anybody has any questions on that or any concerns, let me know. And then, but the rest of them are just in and out. And then, of course, the big one that stays is the $421,000. We've been having meetings and discussing the reserve policy. There's a draft of the reserve policy in your current draft of the budget book for next year. And, while we're looking at it, and we put out a bid last month for new Amendment 78, in an attempt to not have too many Amendment 78s out at the same time, I would like to consider, y'all to consider paying off that one for the old police tower for $421,000, taking that out of savings. Now, we do also have the plan to take the first 2025 payment if I plan to bring to you guys next month at the October council meeting, the plan to take the first 2025 payment for this current Amendment 78 out of savings as well. So if you have any concerns about that, we're at a pretty high, let me see, where were we at for general fund on days? We were at 197. I did not think to run, well, I can tell you, I didn't run it separately, but that's about 10 days on each of those, so it would take us down to 20 days. It has the potential to take us down 20 days and put us at 177, which is still well over 120 days. I know there's a lot kind of up in the air right now, but that's my plan. Does anybody have any questions about that plan, or?
How much is that other payment?
I don't know for sure right now, because we haven't officially awarded that bid. But it'll be right about that.
Same amount?
That same amount or less.
So you're just talking about, you're talking about making the first month's payment of Amendment 78, not the year, but the first month.
No. The first year payment, the 2025 payment out of savings. Like if we do that, we're budgeted like neutral right now. Remember how last at the budget meeting we brought to you guys, we had $52, we were break even. Part of the reason I did that is because we still had that bid out. If we want to go ahead and put that in there, then we're still looking for that amount of money to balance general fund. So it's a little bit hard to do because of the timing. There's the other potential there is, I ran those first set of numbers at a 2% increase on what had come in through July. We've now got August, we've got September, so there's potential there because both those came in higher than what we had forecasted. So, I know it's hard, but I rework it constantly until we stop, basically, and adopt it. So, I think this is a good plan. I feel okay about it. The work that we're doing to go over the reserve policy, I think we're going to come out at the end of 2025 with a much better understanding of our reserve policy and more of a policy. which we haven't really had in its entirety.
And I agree with that. But this, the interest rate we're paying on this, 421, is much less than what we're gonna pay on the Amendment 78. So we're gonna take money and pay off a lower interest rate so we borrow money at a higher interest rate.
Well, I mean,
you could
keep this one in there and not do the other one, but if we have them, I mean, it's just basically like we're looking for that money to balance the general fund.
I know, another thing that bothers me is that we're borrowing money on Amendment 78, we're using savings to pay for it. Because we don't have savings to pay for it in 2026. I mean, we're gonna have to cut something.
That is
I don't know, that goes against my sensibilities in borrowing money and you don't have an income stream to pay for it other than savings.
That is a concern, not this one tonight for the 421, I mean, this would be the end of it, so I don't have that concern. But there is that concern for this other one that I'm planning to bring to you in October. That is, you know, that potential exists, that we would have to keep doing that, and I don't want to do that. I don't think that would be the case. We could always say, you know, we're going to cut something if sales tax doesn't come in high and balance and not do that.
But we've been through that before too. Like,
Yeah. So it's,
that's a whole process, no one wants to give up anything, stuff like that. I get all that.
And it's never easy.
When you're wanting to take money from your savings to pay off something like this, it's not good business. It's just not.
Yeah, I mean, we do not have to
And
do it.
especially to meet budget. Like if it's a difference if there's savings to do it, like if you're saving interest or you're saving a good business move, but if you're taking money, an asset, out of your funds to pay off just to meet budget,
Well, the whole reason
there's an issue with
I
that.
want to do it is I want to get us back out of the enterprise lease situation and back onto a rotation for an adequate fleet. You know, that's been a goal underneath the finance page for the last probably 5 years. And we could not do that feasibly when COVID was going on. We got into that situation. I mean, like I've told you guys before, it served its purpose, but it really drastically hurt the city overall for the maintenance and a plan for their fleet. You know, it's kind of set us back, which it set a lot of people back, COVID, related to cars in particular. So, we do not have to do this. When I bring it to you guys next month in October, I mean, we put that out to bid. I feel like we got a really good response. We heard back from 6 banks. We have a really tight spread on the interest rate. It's not as great as some of these other interest rates, but that's not the environment we're in right now. It is a good interest rate for this environment. I think our local banks really did a great job. You know, I was super excited. And, you know, all I can do is recommend you guys make the choices.
Would it not be more wise to keep the lowest interest rate one, and then if we have to use funds, buy whatever you want to buy with our funds instead of getting Amendment 78 money?
Well, we can't buy it outright. We can only buy 1/5 of what we're getting. So you see what I'm saying? Like we're buying 2.2, we're borrowing, so we're getting $2.2 million and paying it off over the next 5 years. So yes, we could in theory buy 1/5, which would get us maybe 1 car for code, 1 car for parks, 1 car, but it won't get us to that point where, you know, we have our fleet functioning.
So how many cars are you talking about putting in Amendment 78?
I know there are 8 or 9 in
Yeah,
there.
the big ticket item is the pull back.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes, almost $1 million of it's the
And part of the thinking behind this, before you deny it, is to not have so many Amendment 78s on the books. Try to have a better plan of how often we're going to do Amendment 78s.
But didn't we just say that we want to pay this off so we can get some more?
Well, that's part of the deal. Instead of just adding another one, pay one off. That way we're keeping our Amendment 78s.
We won't have any more at one time. We'll just have the same amount. You know, if we
And
pay this one off, it's done. You know,
And the paying for it out of savings in 2025, that's not a go-forward plan. That was just to balance the budget for 25.
yeah.
And we're also being, like Joy's saying, being very conservative on the projections at 2%. So we're unbalanced at 2%, but even the projections this year that were low are coming back, and we may end up hitting the 3% that we budgeted for 2024.
Yeah, through today, the September sales tax that came in just today, I believe, we're about $34,000-ish over our current forecasted amounts. So we've met our projections, it was just 3%. And so we're not currently budgeting at 3% increase for next year, we're just got a 2%. And it's 2% through July. So August has come in higher, September's come in higher. When I rework those, there is the potential that we wouldn't have to take this full payment out of the savings.
I think some of that is a question of how you would like us to bring you the balanced budget. We can forecast more on our sales tax projections that would take care of this, but we felt like it'd be
risky.
Yeah, so that's kind of the thinking.
The last time we financed a vehicle through Amendment 78, we paid for it long before we got the vehicle. Which is not optimum.
Yes,
You really want to start, I mean, we're paying the interest income. It's like that guy was talking about building a house. You pay for the loan once you start, whether you crack the ground or not.
Well, but I don't think though that we're gonna run into those same issues in this current environment. Like, I think we'll get the money in January and get the cars probably like February. These cars also, some of them are not even upfitted at all. They're not PD cars, so they don't take a lot of lead time on doing special things to them. They're just pretty much regular.
How long will it take to get the pull pack?
Oh my gosh.
So we're in good shape on that. If Amendment 78 gets approved in October, we can go ahead and order everything. The pool pack will need to be put in the spring, summertime when you don't use the pool pack. So we'll have plenty of lead time to have everything in place. As soon as the weather changes, gets warm enough, April, May, we'll replace the pool pack.
And we have already been in talks with Brian Bowman about this. There's an item later further on down your agenda for the land for the fire station that's in the amendment money. A payback period where if we pay on that land before we get the money, we can pay ourselves back and pay it off over 5 years. And then also that we have it built in, it's either 6 or 8 months to spend the money, from the amount of money that we're getting, and that's going to be written into the ordinance that Ryan's prepared. You can go further out, but it's IRS ramifications on stuff, so it's a better deal the tighter your timeline is.
Kind of broadening Amendment 78 away from vehicles and such like it had been in the past to a point where it's consuming all sorts of things.
Yeah, I mean, the state does not have anything that's going to last over the 5-year period, so it's life, land, those sorts of things are fine to do your Amendment 78. Pretty much the only stipulations is that you pay it back with general fund money and you do it within 5 years. So, the city of Bryant may not have bought land before, but I mean, I do know that that's pretty common practice across the state. So, these are good questions. Any other questions?
Is this, using it to purchase fleet vehicles, is this the entire fleet or is this just part? Okay.
No, and see, that's the thing. And in your last budget book draft is probably the best fleet list since I got here in 2014. And like I said, I started working on it, and then we hit COVID, and we kind of backslid, 3 or 4 years like everybody else. This is the best one, and because I wanted to get the city, the PD has kind of always had that placeholder, and their stuff, they get, as they should, they get kind of precedent. But the other departments, I mean, it really got to the point where it's like we were holding on to things 10, 12, 11, years and paying a lot of money on maintenance of those vehicles, and it just didn't make a lot of sense. You wouldn't do it in personal finances, and so what we needed, this will be a multi-year program, but we can get there, we can do it
But
where,
like Joy said, it's, a lot of it is getting away from the enterprise. All the departments that were leaning into, depending on the enterprise, now we're going to borrow the money and own these vehicles.
Will this 9 vehicles or whatever completely do away with enterprise?
other than for the police department. The police department is going to keep their enterprise. And the main reason why that's a benefit to them and it's not a benefit to the other departments is what we talked about before, the lead time on police vehicles. And Chief Minden can talk more about this if y'all want him to. He and I've had several conversations, but their lead time and having to do all those separate purchase orders through the system and basically coordinate all of the upfitting for their vehicles is a huge ordeal. And we're paying Enterprise essentially to do that for us. And, you know, I mean, that's a judgment call. Is it worth it? And he feels like it's worth it, and he
But we
definitely...
don't make a payment until we get the car. So 7 Tahoes y'all approved earlier this year, I don't have them. I mean, they're sitting over someplace and they've been waiting on equipment and stuff for months. But we're not paying a dime until those cars are completely outfitted. Whereas with Amendment 78, we just had cars you're paying for sitting there doing nothing. So it doesn't work for us at all. But the Enterprise works great.
So we're gonna continue with, continue with lease cars for police department?
Yeah, and he has 2 different types. He has his kind that he just rents, and then he has his kind that he rents to own. And after the 5 years, they own them, and they can sell them and do what they want with them. You know, so there's 2 different things going on there. But also, just so there's no confusion, the only thing that I'm bringing to you tonight, and you can adopt the rest of these, you know, if you want to amend it, is just the $425, paying that one off a year early. We'll only save about $5,000 in interest, because like I said, you know, however many years ago, I think this was like a 2022 one, or maybe pre that, our interest rates were great. So it's not a lot of savings in interest, but overall, I like it because I don't want to have that many Amendment 78s out there. So I want to wrap one up and start another one essentially, basically. And yes, it does have a higher interest rate, but it's you know, I think it's worth it. But that's just my opinion. So you could either amend this tonight, or you could table it, do the rest of them, you know, if you guys want to keep discussions. Like I said, I'm bringing this to you tonight, and then the plan is to bring the Amendment 78 to you at the October council meeting.
So is the concern paying off Amendment 78? And these adjustments before you?
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go right ahead.
What if we table the payoff of the Amendment 78 this evening? This is just discussion. Table the Amendment 78 payoff this evening, and then approve the others, and then we can we can certainly look at everything together next month. Is that
that's fine.
acceptable?
Oh yeah, that's
I
fine.
second that
Mr.
motion.
I was
So
about to do
you want
that.
to amend this current resolution to remove the Amendment 78 early payoff?
Yes, I start to see this.
And then pass the
Yes,
rest
Joy.
of it? Yes.
All right, so I have a motion to amend this to remove the Amendment 78
Payoff.
and approve the rest.
That's my motion, sir.
And my second.
Mr. Chairman.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Ordinance 2024-15, record destruction.
Yes.
Lots of records.
Crystal passed out to you guys tonight. She did not get a chance to get everybody's signatures before it was due up on the agenda, but she has subsequently received all those signatures. That's really kind of a technicality, but for the department heads. But we're doing some major cleanouts. So I think you've got courts, animal control, water billing, and finance. Does anybody have any questions on any of the items on the list?
Do you need a witness?
I do, yes. Well, I need a...
Motion to approve as long as Jack's gonna be there.
I was gonna say, I need a second.
Yeah, I need a motion
Yeah, so-
to suspend the rules.
Oh, yeah.
Is it an ordinance?
Yes.
It is an ordinance, so.
Yeah.
Motion to suspend the rules, read by first, second, third reading by title only.
As long as Jack's gonna be there?
As long as Jack's there.
Okay.
Including his name.
I'll second that.
You're gonna fight with Butch.
All right, we got a motion to suspend the rules and read first, second, third reading by title only, as long as Jack's there. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, this is an ordinance providing permission to destroy certain city records per city policy and other purposes. Motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second?
Second. All right, roll call vote.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Mosley,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Rumminer,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Bodell,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Henson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to put on first, second, third reading by title only. It's an ordinance, right?
Moving on.
Are you on item 8 already?
Are
Where
you
we
ready
at?
to move forward on?
Oh, I'm so sorry, but I think we approved the motion, but we didn't. Oh, well.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, never mind.
No worries.
I'm slipping.
It's all good.
It's okay, Jack. You're gonna.
I was there last week.
We're on,
It's my job to protect
number 7 now.
You're still.
Oh,
Personal property millage rate.
Is this the same as it is now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No changes.
Make a motion, but read by first, second, third by title only.
All right, got a motion to suspend the rules, read by first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
Second. Star, all in favor? Passes. An ordinance to adopt the millage rate for personal property for 2024. Have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
All right, roll call vote.
Martin,
Yes.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Mosley,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Henson,
Yes.
Rodell,
Yes.
Rumminer,
Yes.
Meyer.
yes.
Motion passes. All right, number 8, this is an ordinance 2024-17 annual real property millage rate. Again, no changes.
Question as to why they're separate, because they have to be the same, correct?
They don't have to do this, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, they do have to do this. We figured that out last year, didn't we?
But,
Yes.
you know,
It's 2 different classifications.
it was just, half the people I talked to said it was confusing to have them together, the other half said they like them to be separate, so I just put them.
Just
Yeah.
Which side were you?
trying to make sure that we're not gonna mess anything up here.
Yeah.
They are the same.
Make a motion to read by first, second, and third title. I can't say that.
Got a motion to suspend the rules, read first, second, third reading.
Second that.
Who's the second?
Do I have a second?
Jordan got the second on that.
All right, motion to approve?
I don't know that line.
So moved. So moved.
Motion to approve that motion.
Suspend the reading, motion
First,
reading.
second.
I'm holding that,
All right,
man.
the motion to, we have on the floor, a motion to suspend the rules and read first, second, third by title only. Do we have a motion to approve that?
So moved. Yes.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, not a motion.
You have to read by
Yeah,
title
I'm sorry.
only, and then it calls the roll.
Sorry, you're right.
It's,
I got confused.
We need to vote on that.
All right, ordinance to adopt the millage rate for real property, 2024. A motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt.
first, second, third.
Second. All right, now we're at it. Roll call vote.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Henson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Mosley,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Meyer,
Yes.
Rodell,
Yes.
Rumminer.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you guys.
All right, number 9, community development.
Finally, my questions. I got all kinds of
Grants.
This is a resolution for the Great Strides Trails for All grant with Arkansas Office of Outdoor Recreation. This is a no-match grant, so we are not putting any money down. We can ask up to $250,000, but we are going to ask for $185,000 to resurface the Mills Park Trail.
Motion to approve.
Is this, so, I'm sorry, you said 185,000, not the 250?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, our quote came back in at 185. I know on your item history sheet, it said that we were going to ask for 250. But since then, we've gotten the quote, so it's $185.
Second.
All right, got a motion, Jason, Rob, second, all in favor? Any opposed?
Good job.
Motion passes, thank you, Rebecca.
Absolutely.
Jason. All right. Revised Planning Commission bylaws, ordinance 2024-18.
Evening, council. This is revised set of planning commission bylaws we're bringing before you. Earlier this year, after discussions with the planning commission, we thought it was time to go ahead and revamp them since the last time those had been addressed had been a number of years back. So this is a new updated version. And that's really about it. If y'all have any questions about it, it's already gone through planning commission.
Pretty healthy conversation about it.
Yes, it actually went to planning commission, I think 3 or 4 different times. We had discussion on it each time, tweaked a few things, changed some things on it. So, but it's at a point we all think it's really good set of bylaws. Really cleans things up.
I'll make a motion we suspend the rules and do first, second, and third reading by title only.
All right, second.
That was good.
I'll second. John. All right, motion second, all in favor? Any opposed?
No more ordinances, man.
All right, ordinance to adopt revised bylaws for the Planning Commission of the City of Bryant. We have a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Star. Roll call vote.
Meyer,
Yes.
Mosley,
Yes.
O'Rourke,
Yes.
Henson,
Yes.
Herminer,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. All right, number 11, we wanted to just have a little more discussion about this potential land purchase that would be in the Amendment 78 next month.
So this land is going to be between Bryant Parkway and Hillville Road. This is an area that we've been looking at putting a future fire station for over 10 years now. We got a current officer right now, $250,000. He did appraise, he got appraised for us last week, $400,000.
Is that for both properties, Brandon?
Yes, that is for
I'm
both
sorry,
properties.
Chief.
These are two tracts. Altogether, the tracts are 2.78 acres. So it's perfect for a fire station. It's right there in the area of the Bryant Parkway, Highway 5, Hilldale, and Hilltop Road. So that is a good area. It gives us lots of access to the city. And it's also an area that we're looking at. That's where most of our growth is, and we're looking at annexing, so.
For sure.
So, okay, these maps are a little confusing. Is it the one that goes onto Midland and, or is it this one in the curve? So there's
Okay, what
this
these
one in
are,
the curve and then
these are
there's,
potential, which is, Ted got with his software and everything, and those are potential layouts for the station.
Uh-oh, the engineer's coming up.
then there's this one that goes straight across.
It's just that, it's
Parcel and that
still the
parcel.
same land. These are the two parcels right there. The city already owns this parcel.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Enlighten me.
Yes, ma'am.
That's why we wanted to bring it for discussion. We had a little more information than last time. I think we brought it to you at the workshop. Is that right?
Do you have any questions on it? I'll be back probably next month with the resolution. for that.
Easy as a truck.
There we go.
Good deal.
Apparatus. Apparatus.
Pardon.
All right, item 12, resolution 2024-34, new position, IT support technician.
Yes, new position, downgraded position though, so it's budget friendly. This is a reclass of the systems administrator position. So we have, the first one is the job description and the new pay scale, and then the second one is to amend the resolution that would technically freeze it because it was vacated so that we could then hire a new position.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Do we ever include education on these, like what they must have? Okay.
In the job description, the hiring managers are the ones who initially write what they expect from the position. In this particular one, you do not have, you have an equivalent of a degree, and then you have some preferred certifications.
Or 2 years experience in it.
You said this is budget friendly, what was the pay scale before?
The minimum was 56. I can tell you that. I don't have the exact pay scale in front of me, but I know the minimum was 56. So we would have had to have hired the next person in. Our policies say that we hire at the minimum for the current adopted scale, so it would have been at least 56. Probably going up in 25.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Jack? A second?
Second.
Jordan? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, resolution passes. Number 13, resolution 2024-35 is to unfreeze. Correct?
Well, there's two. You just did 24. That would be the one where they adopted the position description and the pay scale. And now we need to do 25, which is unfreezing it under the,
Under
I should have that
ordinance.
memorized by now, but I don't. 2023-30. Amending that.
Amending, yes.
Chairman, I'll make a motion, we thaw out this position for resolution 2023-30.
All right.
We can defrost in the microwave if
We
desired.
have a motion from Rob. I have a second. John, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
All right. 14, Public Works.
Big microwave, Gordon.
ARPA Fund Resolution.
Hi, everybody.
Where's that?
So this is a resolution to dedicate some of, well, what's left of the ARPA fund of $867,000, and then $721,553 in the stormwater infrastructure fund to construct phases 1, 2, and 3 of the Stillman drainage projects. So with a not to exceed of $1.6 million. Phase 1 and 2 are set to go to bid at any time after this is approved, or if it's approved, and then phase 3, there's some design work still left, but it will go to bid as soon as the ARPA funds have to be dedicated by December 31st of 2024 and spent by December 31st of 2026. This does help 11 homes that flood, 16 homes that get extensive yard flooding, and then if you've ever been over there during the rain, the roads are completely impassable.
So does this, I don't know the answer, so I'm really not trying to trick you. Does this solve the flooding issue in that area or not?
It should, yes. Yeah.
It should, okay.
Yes.
You go to law school? Okay,
Yeah,
never
it
mind.
actually,
All right, thank you.
yeah.
Tim, isn't this the one where y'all already did some work on phase 2?
Yeah,
Phase
we did
1
a
and...
little portion of phase 2
Okay.
at one time in-house, yeah. These
Okay.
will all be contracted out. and we're doing it
Gotcha.
in-house.
And then you've got to come back before the end of the year to spend the remaining ARPA.
The remaining ARPA funds will be dedicated to water and wastewater. This will eat up what's left in this one.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion, and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Council comments.
I have a personal one. My son's getting married this weekend.
Yeah, go go.
There's that.
Where's the party? Never mind.
I have one. I wanted to say thanks to Chief for, I know there's been a lot of school threats and stuff this week. I appreciate your officers taking it serious and, being professional and interviewing the students that were involved. I appreciate you guys.
When's Fall Fest?
Fall Fest, October 12th. Fall Fest. Also, budget surveys are out. Grab a flyer, share it on your Facebook, share it on all your social media. We've already got a really good response, more than usual. And we've got a prize, is that right, Jordan?
We have three Tour Bryant gift baskets from local businesses. Like the Cotton Shed, they gave a gift basket for Bryant football that's valued at over $100. So 3 people who take the survey will get entered, or will end up winning that.
Are we eligible?
No.
If you get it, you gotta give it back. But, doing our best to make sure we hear from our residents about their money, how they want it spent. So please spread that word. All right, that's all I got. Any motion to adjourn?
So motion.
All right. We're adjourned.
We go.